All right, let's talk about getting rich. Now, if you think it's all about working 80-hour weeks or just grinding your way up the corporate ladder, well, you might want to think again. Today, we're cracking open Naval Ravikant's modern playbook for building wealth. And trust me, these aren't your grandpa's financial principles. They're designed for the world we live in right now.
So the first thing we've got to wrap our heads around is that the old path, the one we were all told to follow, it's kind of broken. Naval puts it perfectly. You can work in a restaurant for 80 hours a week, but you're just not going to get rich doing that. See, real wealth isn't about how hard you work. It's about knowing what to work on, who to work with, and when to do it. It's a whole different game. And this next quote, wow, it's the idea that really changes everything. You're not going to get rich renting out your time. Think about that. As long as you're trading your hours for dollars, your income is directly tied to your effort. You stop working, the money stops coming in. To build actual wealth, you have to break that link. You've got to own something, a piece of a business, some equity that makes money for you even when you're not actively working. Yeah, even while you're sleeping.
Okay, so this is where it gets really empowering. Making money isn't some secret art form reserved for a lucky few. It's a skill that you can learn, just like learning to ride a bike or code. In fact, Naval says that if he lost all his money tomorrow, he's confident he could get it all back in 5 or 10 years. Why? Because he's learned the skill of wealth creation. It's not about luck. It's about knowing the rules of the game.
All right, so if this is a skill, what's lesson number 1? Well, it's all about understanding what you're actually aiming for. Because the goal here isn't just about piling up a bunch of money. No, the real goal is to build wealth. And believe me, money and wealth are two very, very different things.
So what's the difference? Well, wealth is the good stuff. It's the assets that earn for you while you sleep. We're talking businesses, investments, even computer programs or robots. It's the engine that's constantly working for you 24/7, generating income without you having to lift a finger. That's the dream, right?
And money's just, well, it's how we move wealth around. Naval has a great way of putting it. It's like an IOU from society. You do something valuable for people, and they give you this social credit, money, that you can cash in later for things you want. It's absolutely essential for sure, but it's not the final destination. Wealth is.
This really gets to the heart of our motivations. Naval says we're basically playing one of two games in life. The first is the wealth creation game. This one's positive sum. That means when you create something new and valuable, you're making the pie bigger for everyone. We can all win. But then there's the status game, and that one is zero sum. For you to win, someone else has to lose. It's all about hierarchy and beating the other guy. Naval's advice is simple but profound. Just ignore the status games. Focus on creating, on building. That's where the real rewards are. Okay, so we're committed. We're going to play the wealth game, not the status game. So how do we actually play it? Well, Naval boils it all down to this really clear, actionable formula. It's built on 3 core pillars. And here they are. First, you need specific knowledge. Second, you need to take on accountability. And third, you need to apply leverage. That's it. That's the formula. Get these 3 things working together, and you are well on your way. So let's break them down one by one. First up, specific knowledge. And I love this quote. Specific knowledge is found by pursuing your genuine curiosity and passion, rather than whatever is hot right now. See, this isn't stuff you can just go get a degree in. It's that weird, unique combo of your personal passions and your skills. Maybe you're obsessed with sci-fi novels, but you also know how to code. That intersection, that's your specific knowledge. Here's the key. If you can be trained for it, you can be replaced. But if it comes from your own genuine curiosity, you become one of a kind. You become irreplaceable. Next up is accountability. This one's pretty straightforward, but it's huge. It means taking risks under your own name. You have to be willing to put your skin in the game. Look, if you shy away from responsibility, you're also giving up any claim to the rewards. But when you step up and say, I'm owning this, society rewards you. It gives you responsibility, yes, but it also gives you equity and access to that third, game-changing pillar, leverage. And that brings us to leverage, the great multiplier. Honestly, this is the secret sauce. Leverage is what separates working harder from working smarter. It's the tool that lets you completely disconnect the hours you put in from the results you get out. And the most exciting part? In today's world, the most powerful kinds of leverage are available to pretty much anyone with a computer. You've probably heard this quote from Archimedes, "Give me a lever long enough and a place to stand, and I will move the earth." That perfectly captures the idea, right? A tiny bit of effort can create a massive result if you have the right tool.
In our case, your specific knowledge and your judgment, that's the force. Leverage is the tool that magnifies that force 1,000 times over.
Now, Naval splits leverage into two amazing categories. First, there's the old school kind, permissioned leverage. This is things like capital. You need someone to give you money. And labor. You need people to agree to work for you. You need permission. But then there's the new stuff, permissionless leverage. We're talking code and media. You don't need anyone's permission to write a program or start a YouTube channel. All you need is a computer.
And guys, this is where the game has completely changed. The fortunes of the newly rich are almost all built on this permissionless leverage. Think about it. You can create a piece of software, write an article, or record a podcast once, and it can be distributed to millions of people at basically zero cost. It's literally like having an army of robots working for you around the clock while you sleep.
So let's recap. We have the formula: specific knowledge plus accountability multiplied by leverage. But, and this is a big but, that formula only works if you have the right mindset to go with it. This isn't some get-rich-quick thing. No, this is a long-term playbook for building real, sustainable wealth.
This idea of compound interest is just, it's so powerful. Naval says all the returns in life, whether in wealth, relationships, or knowledge, come from compound interest. It's not just about money in the bank. The real magic happens when you stick with something, a business, a skill, a relationship, for a long, long time. Playing short-term games gets you short-term results, but long-term games, that's where you get those massive compounding returns that are just impossible for others to catch up with.
So you might be thinking, okay, but how do I play a long-term game when everything is so competitive? The answer is beautiful. You escape competition by just being you, by being authentic. When you build and create things that are a genuine expression of your unique skills and passions, who can compete with you? Literally no one. No one on the planet can beat you at being you. Which brings us right to this simple but incredibly deep idea. Find work that feels like play. Look, if what you're doing is something you're genuinely passionate about, you're not working in the same way someone else is. You can pour 16 hours into it and feel energized, while the person trying to compete with you is just grinding it out and burning out. When your work feels like play, you've basically found a cheat code for life. You can't be outcompeted. And ultimately, this is what it's all leading to: freedom. Naval has this amazing redefinition of retirement. It's not an age you hit, it's a state you reach. Retirement is when you stop sacrificing today for some imaginary tomorrow. It's the point where your passive income from your wealth covers your expenses, and you're finally free to do whatever you want. You're no longer renting out your time. You've bought it back. So we'll leave you with this final, kind of mind-bending thought from Naval. When you're finally wealthy, he says, you'll realize that it wasn't what you were looking for in the first place. But that's a puzzle for another day. He teaches that getting rich is a solvable problem. It's a skill you can learn. But maybe, just maybe, it's just a stepping stone, a tool to help you answer the bigger question. What is it you're truly seeking?